So you are a doctor by trade,
I
correct?
am.
You still practice, correct?
I do too, in a manner of speaking. I have my boards in internal medicine and in ER, and I love being a doctor, and I never wanted to be a writer. And then one day I decided, just for fun, I decided to try and write a book. It was a book about nurses and mercy killing. For my first book, I literally made a list of all the things that could go wrong, and then I made them happen to the poor main character in the book. It was just a great way to start, and all of a sudden I had two careers that I loved. And so I did them both for a long time. And then when my youngest was born, I stopped working in the emergency ward full-time and started working in a program that takes care of sick doctors. And that's
really?
what
Okay.
I do now.
Is it too intense, the ER?
No, I love it. I love not knowing what's going to come through the door next.
Yeah, talking about not knowing what's happening next, it's a bit like thriller writing, isn't it?
Hopefully I sort of know what's going to happen next by the time I actually write it.
For someone who never set up to become a writer, you surely did well.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. And you managed to keep the momentum going.
I had some help along the way in that my first book was such a strong idea that my initial editor at Bantam was willing to help me slowly to learn how to write, to learn what point of view was, to learn tricks of the trade of writing.
Yeah. Do you find the deductive process or reasoning process of medicine has helped you to solve mysteries?
So.
Yeah.
I think so, very much so, and it's especially easy for me because I'm writing within the field of medicine, although my last 8 or so books I've expanded, so I'm writing in medicine and in politics. So I'm working on a book right now called Resistant, and in that book, the doctor, who's also the hero of this book, talks a lot about process and how he uses it in his life, but especially in medicine.
What kind of process, to be precise?
What do you do? What do you do when you see somebody for the first time and they're sick? Take your time if you can. Be prepared. Talk to the people. Make sure you don't focus in too quickly on their problem, because you want to, all of a sudden, if somebody says, oh yeah, I've been peeing a lot the last month and I'm really tired, you go, oh my God, you're just getting diabetes. And you've got chest pain. You know, I'm going to pay attention to it.
To come back to the novel, it's the same character again, or is it different,
Yes,
standalone?
When you switch and decide you want an ongoing character, then everything changes. And the character becomes a detective. That's different. That means the plot comes to the character.
That's right, yeah.
Instead of the character running into the plot by mistake almost.
And making the wrong choices.
Making a wrong choice. So in the new books, with the ongoing characters, such as Dr. Lou Wellcome in Political Suicide, he might be working in the ER, and in comes a woman covered in huge blue lumps all over her body, and he has no idea what it is, and he becomes determined to find out what those lumps are. So he goes out after the lumps. Let's just say that's a raw example, but that's the way I'm writing now. My old books, the standalones, the doctor would be the one to get the lumps.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah.
Big difference.
Sure.
Figure out why you're dying of those lumps or you're out of the world.
The picture, yeah.
And so it's an interesting project for me to learn how to write the ongoing character as opposed to the standalone. When I was starting as a writer, my first editor told me, she said, you know what your problem is? Writing villains. And you know why? Because you're too nice. You don't believe that evil exists for its own sake. I changed when she told me that, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to try and at least create absolute evil, even if I don't really believe in it. But now I believe in it.
Okay, so what's the timeline for the book, the new book? What's the title? The Resistance, right?
The Resistant.
Okay, Resistant.
Yes, is the title. It's going to be out probably in June.
June of
2014.
In the meantime,
this is a good book, though.
Political Suicide should be coming out in paperback, right?
It's coming out in paperback soon.
Okay, so how soon?
I would think in the spring.
Okay.
Again.
The Michael Palmer. political suicide.
The what-if question of that book is, what if a chemical was developed that could eliminate the ability to fear?
Fear. Okay, I love the premise.
It's a book about fear.